let's get some answers. We're joined by one of their terrific analysts here, the Tennessee Titans Radio Network, former NFL head coach as well. That is Dave McGinnis, who we've had on the show before. Coach, what's happening, buddy? How you been?
Brandon, Tiki, great talking to you guys. How we doing?
Awesome. Oh, love the energy's infectious. We always enjoy having you on the show. And, listen, we'll get to some of the additions and we'll get to the path to hopefully a Super Bowl for Tennessee Titan fans. But the one thing, Coach, that I noticed about last year's team, not to say that they're destined to the same fate, but I want to get your thoughts on why are they so streaky? And for those who might not know, last year they jump out to a 5-0 start, then they lose 3 out of 4, then they come back and they win 4 or 5, then they finish up the season by losing 2 out of 3, one of which was a wild card loss to the Ravens. So the great teams have more consistency. Why has that been a bit elusive for the Tennessee Titans?
Well, let's go last year in particular. It's because of the injuries that they suffered throughout the secondary, during the year. And it's very hard. I mean, the offensive line in the secondary in the National Football League, continuity there is so paramount, more so than any other position, just because of the fact that you've got more bodies involved in working, in concert with one another. So that was one of the issues. And then, look, you're not going to be very consistent if you can't play defense and get people out on third down. Last year, they were not good at that at all, and sometimes that puts an undue burden on your offense. That sometimes tends to a little bit of streakiness also. So they addressed some of those issues in the offseason. Now we'll see how it plays out, because a National Football League season only counts when you start the real games. But they addressed, I think, some of those issues. That was my take from it, as far as, doing the games all year. And so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, Dave, you're hit the nail on the squarely on the head. They were 51.9% defensively giving up third down conversions, which was 32nd last in the National Football League. Offensively, they were pretty good on third down, and a lot of that was because they were in second and third and manageable situations thanks to Derrick Henry, who rushed for 2,000 yards, which is just unbelievable how he did it going into that last game. But with that being said, Dave, he had 378 carries, almost 400 touches total when you count some of his receiving yards. He's a beast. He's built like a brick, you-know-what. How sustainable is this wear and tear on Derrick Henry?
Look, let me just say this, and of course, talk his first 2 years in the league, playing behind DeMarco Murray, he didn't have a lot of carries, but I'm going to pull out Bum Phillips. I'm a Texas guy. I'm a West Texas guy, so I'm going to pull out one of Bum Phillips saying when they asked the same thing about Earl Campbell about the number of carries, and here's what Bum said: that football's not very heavy. All right, and so he's fine. And guys, you guys have seen him. I mean, and I've been around some great backs, in my career. I've been very fortunate. I mean, I've been on a team with Walter Payton, been on a team with Emmitt Smith. I've, seen those guys. This guy's a different dude.
Yeah,
I mean, he really is, because he's one of those high cut, backs with length. But he can start to eat stripes now when he gets out in the open field. But he's powerful enough that he can run through that first and second level, even if they've got arms and shoulders on him. So he's a very different type of a back. And you're very correct in saying this. They were really good on offense on third down because of the first and second down, pluses that they had. They were always able to stay more ahead of the chain than the opponent was, because they've got a running game. And look, he faced a lot of 7.5, 8.5 man boxes last year. People knew they were going to line up and run that outside zone, but he could still run through those plays. And so it's important. It's important to keep him healthy, and they're doing a very good job of that. And so he's a different type of back, because he's a power back, but he's got home run speed.
As we've seen many times, pulling away from the field. Down the stretch he comes. Nobody hits. He hits his head on the goalpost. That's when they maybe catch him. We're talking to Dave McGinnis, formerly head coach of the Cardinals. By the way, I bet you wish you had some of the talent the Cardinals have now when you were coaching there, right, Dave?
I had some pretty good players. I just wasn't a very good coach.
Very humble.
I had Jake Glummer. I had Anquan Bolden.
That's true.
I had Simeon Rice.
Yeah, that's true.
I had David Boston. I had some dudes.
That's true. I got you. To me, you look at the schedule here, right? And Dave, of course, former head coach, as I said, he's also part of the Titans broadcast team. I look at the AFC South, right? And you have a rookie quarterback in Jacksonville. He may well be a great player down the road, but he's a rookie this year. The Deshaun Watson situation in Houston. The Colts with Wentz, even if he's healthy, who knows where he is. So things line up for you guys to rack up a lot of wins in the division. And I think it's imperative that you do. For those who don't know, the Titans are playing the NFC West out of division this year. Very good.
That's rough.
The AFC East, Pats could be back. Bills are terrific. Dolphins are pretty good. Like, I think if the Titans stumble in the division a little bit, they're playing their first playoff game on the road again. Like, you have to almost run the table in the South.
Well, I think that's very important. Of course, both of you guys are very dialed into the National Football League. But, the way to get into the tournament is win your division. I mean, that's number one. That's what you're looking at. And regardless of what type of troubles your division opponents are going through when you look at them from afar, both of you guys know that division games are different than any other game you play. First of all, there's a lot of familiarity. Mm-hmm. You play them twice a year, and there's a lot that goes into those things. But you're right. You've got to be able to play and to win your division games. And we all know that the way it works in the National Football League, you win a division game on the road, it's like winning two. And so that's extremely, extremely important. But the games that they're playing now, especially that NFC West, not only are those teams good, but guys, there's a difference when you travel out there. I coached in the NFC West for a long time. There's a difference when teams were traveling across 2 time zones to get out there.
Yep. Yeah.
All right? And we're traveling 1 to get out there. So it makes a little bit of a difference, but still, it's the guys that are in the uniforms and how you're playing at the time. And Mike Vrabel, of course, is dialed in as he is to what it takes to win in the National Football League from a player perspective. I mean, he really knows and he really gets it. He does as good a job as anybody I've ever seen or been around in my coaching career that knows how to load manage his players because he knows what they're going through.
Yeah, Dave, one of the big trades this offseason was Julio Jones coming over from the Atlanta Falcons. And I know A.J. Brown was championing this and excited to have him there. He's missed a ton of practice already. What can we expect, or what are you hearing out of training camp? Because there's not a lot that we've heard about Julio Jones and the prospects for this upcoming season.
Well, that's a little bit of what I was talking about Vrabel with the load management thing. I think all of us know, and I'm not very smart, but I know what Julio Jones can do. This guy's a generational receiver, and pairing him with A.J. Brown and then with Ryan Tannehill and then the offense. The offense that the Titans run here, it's run centric, but it's that Shanahan offshoot offense that is run centric based off the inside and outside zone, but with cut splits. And they start running those transcontinentals against the single high safety back there. It's a pretty deadly passing game offense. And Ryan Tannehill operates it very, very well. A lot of it depends on being able to identify defenses pre-snap, which Tannehill does very, very well. And so I expect this to be a very, explosive offense to watch. Julio Jones will be there when it starts playing for real.
Yep, totally agree. One of the other big splashy moves you guys made this offseason, Bud Dupree, who went down with Pittsburgh, former Kentucky star. Really, once he got hurt, the entire tone of the defense seemed to change for the Steelers. Where is he at? Is he as explosive? Like, is he the same guy? What are you seeing?
Well, he practiced here. He practiced here against the Bucs. He's getting there. I remember vetting him when I was at the Rams. When he came out, he was one of our 30 visits. When I was the assistant head coach there at the Rams, I really liked him a lot. And he's proven, and he's a player, and I think both of you guys will agree, and I think Bud would agree too. He's gotten better since he's been in the league. When he came out, he has probably learned some of the, and which they have to do, all the really great ones on the edge out there. They have to learn nuances out there because sooner or later, whether they were an extreme power rusher in the NCAA level or they were an extreme edge rusher that had that motorcycle bend and could get around the edge, they've got to learn different moves when they get in the National Football League because the one-trick pony in this league, no matter what position you're playing, just doesn't work. It just doesn't work because you got too much film and people are too good. So I've always liked him as a player and always have liked him as an ascending player for a defense. And plus, he's got that one thing that I've always liked. I've always had a preference for really tough dudes on defense, and he's one.
Yeah.
Dave, give us 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Dave McGinnis, former Cardinals coach, Titans analyst here. Let's face it, there's some teams, some fan bases around the NFL who expect to win the Super Bowl this year or at least get there. We know you guys are good. Should Titan fans expect a trip to the Super Bowl?
Here's what they should expect. They should expect a very physical football team and one that's going to be very dialed in from the start. They also should expect this. They should expect a football team that's going to be very well prepared and going to be very, very, very well dialed into what they're doing week to week to week. To expect a Super Bowl, look, I've been in this league for 35 years. I think everybody would want a Super Bowl. Everybody would love a Super Bowl. But in the real world, you need to expect your team to be prepared to play, and that's the real expectation for everybody if they're really in the real world in the National Football League.
Coach, great work. Really appreciate chatting. I know we'll hook up during the season as well. Thank you very much, Dave. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.